Wednesday night, we're all in sight. 9 o'clock, it's shining bright. Turn the dial and feel the might. Just enough Heshy takes flight. Woo! Laughs and wisdom side by side. Heshy show won't be denied. Tune in live and ride the tide. Feel the rush and feel the pride. It's just enough Heshy. Wanna vote for Heshy? It's just enough Heshy. Join the crowd, it's messy.
Good evening, everybody. We did it again.
Why do you keep stealing my thunder?
I think we're just going to do it every week now.
You do it on purpose. You and the producer have it behind my back. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another Just Enough Heshy show. By the way, before we get to the show, you do know that I took my LSTATs.
You know, I was wondering about that, and so
it was such an easy test. I'm telling you, I don't get the scores because I have to do an essay now.
Okay.
And really, I'm embarrassed to tell you that it was an easy test. I'm just scared that there was some problems with the computer in section 1. So I don't know. You never know.
Now you're lucky, Heshy, because we were talking about this off the air, and that they want to ban the use of cell phones in this public schools, but you're going to college, so this doesn't impact you. So now the professors, when you go to start school,
I'm a celebrity, you know. When I ring to the schools, Mr. Tischler, it's the president.
Councilman.
No, I'm the councilman, but the president.
Well, you're a councilman. That's what they're going to,
I'll say it's the mayor calling.
Well, we know he calls already, but we'll talk about him later.
We're going to be talking about Mamadani. Did I get the name right this time?
I think you did. I was corrected by one of our buddies. Yeah. Josh Bailey talked to
so
about
much. We're going to talk about, of course, your buddy Cuomo.
Yes, I got plenty of Cuomo stuff to talk about today.
But we should do the ad for your friend, Mr. Finkel, no?
If the producer has the advert up for it, we'll just let it go and obviously give a big shout out to him because he is listening, and now he's doing pizza. Anthony Finkel will be. He does pizza reviews. Now he just reviewed a local pizza place in the area, Weeded in Ditmas Park. But
Amnon's Pizza is the
we
best
keep
pizza.
telling him to. I told him that. But in the meantime, we got DPH Property Maintenance Service, and success doesn't come from what you do occasionally. It comes from what you do consistently. They have the Trash Genie service, which you refer a neighbor and get 1 month free. Curbside and curb appeal subscription program. The Trash Genie service includes weekly sorting of all trash and recycling, bringing all those trash bins back after sanitation collection, removing all the litter and debris. We've had so much rain lately, you know that's going to be a problem with the leaves. Broom sweeping of the property, trash liners for clean and tidy refuse management, monthly subscription, $305 minimum, all property serviced, weekly trash recycling bags included. We don't need snow anymore, so thankfully give them a call though at 347-228-2625, 347-228-2625, dph.nyc, and tell them Tom and Heshy sent you.
But if it does snow in December, he will come.
He will come, and
he bet, Anthony.
He will make sure that
I want a free shovel.
Now, I will tell you that if we do have snow, it won't be Hollywood created, but we'll create snow just especially for your block.
If I win the election, I want it to snow. I don't want it to snow. I want it to snow on
well, certainly, thank you. But in the meantime, while you may want it to snow, HeshyTischler.com for city council, where if you want to give a donation, if you want to now volunteer, we'll get you a walking list, want to make some phone calls. We got a lot of people here in the chat tonight. 5318 16th Avenue. Stop by anytime. The office is going to be open all summer. Also, justenoughheshy@gmail.com to email your concerns and send that donation to HeshyTischler.com. We need your help. We know that George Sarantopoulos is going to join Heshy in November, but make sure you support Heshy right now because we want more Heshy. Not just enough Heshy, but we want more Heshy and your support, especially now, Heshy, because you're officially on not one, but 2 ballot lines for the first time in your electoral career.
That's
a huge deal here.
I am an official Republican nominee.
Yeah.
And I am also on the Trump mega line.
That shows you that you were certainly ready to go and friendly across over votes.
I want to just thank you, Tom, again and again and again. You just saved me. You went out. You knocked on the doors. You got those.
Well, I'm going to save you that thanks in a minute because we're going to go on the radio in a minute. So hold that thought because we're about to be joined by 1027 FM WNEW, the legend. And, well, yes, we got Green Line Consultants, but we got to go on the radio. We're at the 5-minute mark right now. 1027 FM. Hello. Thank you for joining us this week. 620 WSNR, of course, our flagship. Never can forget about them. And Heshy's favorite place because he's going to Miami after he passes his LSAT exams. 1640. Thank you very much for joining us, JPR. But yes, we got Green Line Building Consultants, definitely Green Line Compliance.
That's my company.
Licensed DOB Expediters, General Contractors, Green Line Building and Consultants, 718-871-0382, 202 Foster Avenue, not too far from McDonald by ShopRite. So do your shopping, come by, get your building inspected. And Heshy and the producer are yelling at me, so make sure you go out and support.
I have people with violations. I passed 2 more inspections this week. Got a store owner back in his building. Got a C of O job. Took on some more issues. That's what I do. You've
done more work on these issues than I was thinking about this coming than I've seen the current councilman in 3 months almost now.
Have you seen him?
No.
Anywhere? You know, funny part. First of all, everybody, welcome to the show. My YouTube and Instagram fans.
Yes, thank you.
Of course, my Facebook fans.
Yes.
And all the people
and
from
Instagram's
the
been
radio,
here. Yep.
WSNR, and
WJPR, WNEW,
and 1640. But I want you to know that I fight for our city, and I fight for the people.
Yes.
And when I was at a memorial for my mother-in-law passed away,
Yep.
And at 30 days we make a memorial dinner for her with the family and some friends. And last night was the event. I spoke with my nephews and my sister-in-law. And I was talking to a young lady over there, and she says, "I want you to know I am related to one of the local councilmen." I said, "Really? Yeah, I'm a very good cousin of his. He's a friend of mine. He says Simcha Felder." And I gave her a hug. I said to her, "He's my competitor."
Now, what you should have asked is, have you seen him before anybody else has? Because in the last 3 months...
That's what I told her. I said, he's an idiot. But I did take my LSAT Thursday. It was an easy test.
Right.
One of my friends, Stephen, he's a lawyer. He says, "Heshy, he was telling me about a guy who after 40 years went to law school." And I said, "Stephen, that's me too." And he said, "Heshy, I wish you the best of luck, and I know you'll be a good lawyer." I thank you, Stephen, for wishing me well. We're going to talk about Cuomo. We're going to talk about Mamadani, Zohran, and the polls now. We're going to talk about my Jewish brothers and sisters who are idiots that are supporting Cuomo, and some are supporting Zohran. I would say this election, nobody should vote or vote for. Isn't there a third guy running on the Democratic primary?
Well, there's a bunch of
bunch of people.
There's Brad Land, who I know you know.
Brad Land, I hate. But what about that Walton character? He's not running.
Whitney Tilson is running, who is basically very anti.
Let's pick somebody that but we don't need a name brand. Pick somebody's Democrat. I know you guys want to win, but these guys are losers.
I think they're all.
I'm looking at one of their mailers. Andrew Cuomo delivered as governor, and he'll deliver as mayor. What did he deliver as governor?
And he's saying he'll make subways safer and protect our communities, but he was the guy that signed the bill for no cash bail.
Yeah, you guys, whatever, I don't know what to tell you, and people were making fun of me. Are you running? Why do you keep running? Well, let me give you my quote. We're going to start the show.
All right.
I've learned over the years that when one's mind is made up, this diminishes the fear. You miss 100% of the shots you don't take. I don't speak because I have the power to speak. I speak because I don't have the power to remain silent. Don't confuse my attitude for my personality. My personality is who I am. My attitude depends on who you are. All these quotes that I gave you today, I want to show you. I am here to fight. I am not here to give up. I am here to speak. I'm here to tell you the facts. I'm here to show you, okay, you don't want to get up and do it? I'm here to get up and do it for you. I'm ready to rock and roll. From taking going to law school, from taking people out of jail, from people at home. Recently, just now, matter of fact, Sunday, we had a house upstate meal, and we're not country bumpkins. We don't like going upstate. Yeah. We go here a weekend, there a weekend to run away, but we're not like you. You are in Staten Island with your grass and your
I actually don't have grass. I'm one of the few people that doesn't have it.
But the point is we're not a big backyards and so on. We like it, but we're city folk.
Yes, you're a city
So
slicker.
I had a guy who's a little bit in trouble. He says, Heshy, I want you to take over my house. It's a 9-bedroom house and another one with 4 bedrooms. Take it over. I can't afford it. I said, I can't afford that kind of money.
Right.
He says, Heshy, I'm going to give you a 2.5-year no interest lease. Give me a 7. I think it was very small, 1/7 of the money owed, and I'll turn over the other mortgage to you. And it really was like, it's like I'm getting the house for almost nothing. But I have to put money into the land.
Yeah,
the field.
I'm sure there's other
And when
things.
I told it to my special needs friend who does the program that we let use the old house all the time.
Yeah.
He was saying, oh, let me go. I said, it's not ready. It's not ready. I have to find the money to fix it up. I'm taking money from the boys. I'm taking money from my son. And they're all excited because I have a whole plan how to make it nice. I'm even going to paint every room different colors so I can have girls and guys there. No, because I want it to be for the special needs as well. Not
Different
only
colors.
for me and you to use. Yeah, Tom, you're going to come up. But I want the kids to enjoy it. The backyard, they need to get away. And sometimes...
Well, that's what being out there will be like for them.
They have nowhere to go. The parents have nowhere to take them. And me, it won't cost them any money.
It's exciting.
I'm going to give you my joke.
All right, let's see if we'll laugh.
It's good. I'm telling you, it's good. It's got to be good.
Producer, keep an eye on this.
I had to go to another city a couple of years ago. I flew on a plane. I had to go to. I think it was. We went. My friend took me to not Kansas, but like right near Kansas. So we flew into Kansas.
Okay.
When I got there, my voice went hoarse. I couldn't talk.
Okay.
I was getting laryngitis. So my friend says, go call a doctor. Maybe he can spray something into you because we had speaking over there. So I called the doctor's office, and a woman picks up, and I whisper into the phone, "Is the doctor in?" I whisper, and she goes on there, and she says, and she whispers back, "No, come on in." She thought I was her boyfriend. Come on, that was funny.
It was kind
Then
of
I had
funny.
to explain to her that I'm not the boyfriend.
This, this reminded me of when.
Come on, laugh.
it
Come
was
on, laugh.
Kind of funny.
Producer,
I think the producer's kind of waiting for the punchline. There you go. You
I
got
have
some.
a backup joke.
All right, give us the
I have a
backup one. Maybe the
joke.
backup one's better. Let's
So
go.
this last week was crazy. I was working, preparing for the memorial, running around, as you know, all the stuff that we do all week long.
Yeah.
After the holidays, we only had 2 days, so I had to try to catch up on 2 days. I had to do like 4 days worth of work.
Okay.
So I was just exhausted, tired, and then one day I went to sleep really late, and then I jumped out of bed. And I woke up and I started running to the door and I was screaming, "Linda, I'm late, I'm late, I'm late." And Linda says, No, slow down. You're not late. It's Saturday.
That was a good one. That was a good one,
I
actually.
didn't even know what day of the week
See,
it is
I
anymore.
think that was...
When you have half weeks, you don't know where you are.
Because you had Monday, Tuesday last week, couldn't do nothing, and you only had Wednesday, Thursday, then
And
it was
I
Friday.
worked and prepared and fed
See,
people.
that was your good joke. Your first one was kind of like...
Oh, wow, Tom. Usually you're never so vicious to me.
But the second one was the good one. The first one, you had a backup.
I
at
want
least.
to talk about your friend Mamadani and Cuomo.
Yes.
You already screamed
Very
about
good
Cuomo,
friend. Yeah,
who's
very
doing
good friend of
nothing.
mine.
Mamadani, according to what I'm hearing, and I know you hear differently, Mamadani is polling 10% more favorably than Cuomo at 58% to Cuomo's 48%, according to a new data poll progress. Is that possible?
So I have a theory on that. I'm glad you brought that up. I'm going to tell you
Now,
why.
I understand that if it is ranked choice, that Cuomo will win if it's the first 3 rounds, but if it's 5 rounds,
Well, right
Mamadani
now,
will win.
so let me answer the first part and then the second part. So the first part on the 58% to 48%, there's no question that the Mamadani base is more energized to vote, but Cuomo right now is kind of where he is because people, they're not excited to vote for him, but there's probably enough of a Democratic pool between all of the candidates that gives him the lead going into the ranked voting.
Wow.
So if you look at it, that's probably why Mamadani's base, which is probably in a New York City Democratic primary, probably smaller than Cuomo's. So his base is more favorable to him. And then to answer your part on the ranked voting,
Yeah.
on where that would go, Mamadani and Cuomo right now, 51 Cuomo, Mamadani 49. That's the most recent poll, 51-49.
And this is a guy, he said on a stage the other day, he says, even if I wanted to go to Israel, they wouldn't let me in. That's not true, Mr. Mamadani. You want to go to Israel, I will buy you the ticket. I will take you. I will show you around. Anybody who knows Mamadani watching our show, you send him an email. Heshy will pay you the ticket, take you around. You'll be safe. I'll have soldiers. I'll have relatives. I'll make sure you're coming. I promise you, I will show you Israel the right way and how we welcome you there.
I think there's no question that...
Even though you told me he was a Jewish guy from Williamsburg endorsing him?
Well, he was considering endorsing
him.
Rabbi Indig from Satmar.
What an idiot.
He was talking about that originally, that he was looking at other candidates, but he said that he wasn't endorsing Mamadani, but he met with him and he didn't feel that Mamadani was what they say, and that he said that he could work with Mamadani if he's elected mayor. Wow. So that tells you that, what are these people thinking? Are they thinking because he's the mayor and they want the crumbs? They want the money, the Satmars, and and Bubba's is split, by the way. Bubba is
not going Mamadani at all.
No, but they didn't go Mamadani, but there was one faction that went with Zellner Myrie and Adrian Adams, and one went with Cuomo. And I think that the reason that they're splitting and some leaders are going different ways is because there's a big giant gorilla in November, and that's Eric Adams, who's the incumbent. And we know that the leaders like the incumbent.
Right.
And that might be why they're wavering a bit on Cuomo. And all of this, Heshy, hurts Cuomo because he needs all the Orthodox vote he can get. He needs all.
He's been trying to get it. I don't know why he even had this Sephardic community.
I'm
just
very
upset with them. They're just idiots. And some other organization in Far Rockaway. I don't know what's wrong with them. I shouldn't help that community at all. I do. They call me every day for help. And I say, you don't help me. You don't know what you're doing.
I think that there's no question that those people are going with what they think is the winner.
I'm not talking about the people themselves, but their leaders are.
The leaders but they do. Listen, we know their track record. Listen, they're allies of David Greenfield.
Dave has done nothing. He's already, state senator for a couple of weeks?
Well, he did vote against medical assisted suicide, though. He did do that, but he didn't fight against it. He voted no, but he didn't fight against it.
But it passed.
It passed 35 to 27.
Here's my question. To what I understand, I mean, this is against the Bible, against the Christian Bible, against the Quran, against moral...
There's a big thing you are missing out, is that this month, which has been a big topic, because, in the wrestling world, this has been a major topic, it's Mental Health Month this month. And to the fact that these legislators have the audacity to pass an illegally assisted suicide during Mental Health Month, do these people, do they not realize what they're out of their own minds?
I want to explain to you what the law is, what I understand.
Okay.
That you need 2 doctors to sign on, and you have to be within 6 months to be definitely told that you're going to die. That's when they do it. Now, you think that for a moment they're not going to abuse these privileges?
Oh, 100%.
You think that we're not going to say, oh, he needed to die and he was, they
But there's so much worse problems in the world right now.
I know that. And I heard a story of a guy who had a heart attack, a young guy. And the doctor knew he was a very rich man, so he played around, told him he had heart surgery.
I know where this is going.
To kill him, you know what I mean? And he almost died. And the story goes that one of the parents gave her heart or whatever. The point, I think they made it into a movie. The point is if we want to trick you or rip you off or figure out a way, assisted suicide, never. I mean, I can even maybe understand abortion. I understand abortion. It's my body. I can't take care of the kid.
But this is a little different. This is, to me, a little too far because you're basically, life is pressure. Everybody fights for every day.
You're actually alive.
And they actually, to me, this is way different than abortion.
I understand
you want to talk about those
pull
things?
The plug or you don't want to resuscitate. I can deal with that. But to assist to suicide for them to die earlier, I don't know.
But this is, to me, what the Democratic Party is for these days. The Democratic Party is now basically telling people, you want to die? Yeah, go for it. People do fight so hard every day to live.
I want to post a picture on the YouTube and Instagram. I don't know, YouTube and Instagram.
And now
there's a
picture
I'm posting now of the LA riots.
Let's talk about that. Speaking of things.
People standing on the police cars, rioting, throwing barricades, and in New York as well, throwing barricades. The police officers set up barricades, and these rioters, it's not peaceful protests.
And Newsom, how about what a clown he is, Newsom, the governor.
Newsom,
I mean,
right.
this guy.
And I don't need President Trump's.
I don't need the National Guard.
Right. You need it. You're allowing the country to go rioting. You have homeless people on the street. You have the biggest population of people defecating in dirty streets. And he keeps getting elected. Why do they keep re-electing this loser?
Because California's like New York. It's just it's a hopeless cause to a lot of people.
I don't know.
Feel.
Did they post that picture of the?
Well, we'll let the producer figure that out. But 700, believe troops were just put out there.
7,000.
700 in one day, and then 7,000 total, I think. And also, I read.
Why didn't he post that picture?
Well, in the meantime, we'll figure that out. But another point that was made that it's interesting. The LA mayor, who doesn't want Trump to help, is now putting a curfew in. I mean, to me, that's just the lunacy.
Yeah.
And will that come to New York if Mamadani becomes mayor?
It will. It's already here. Didn't you see? The other day there was a riot, I think, by City Hall or downtown.
Yeah.
And again,
I was by Union Square. I was by Union Square yesterday.
I want him to put on the picture.
If you figure out the picture, while you do that in the meantime, if you want to tell us your thoughts.
In New York, it's here already. They attacked a Jew. And
we know that. We were talking about that with anti-Semitism and hate crimes have been going on.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just out there. And I mean, so, I guess going back to the Los Angeles situation, the mayor doesn't want Trump to help, but puts a curfew in. What good is that?
Right.
What good does that do?
Yeah.
It's embarrassing. It's got me thinking, Heshy, California, should we just annex California? Should we just give them back to Mexico? Do we want California just because, think about it, right? This state.
Didn't Newsom say that if we're going to hold back how could they hold back taxes from the federal government? How could they hold back?
People are fleeing that state anyway.
But again, you can't hold back
look at how
taxes,
bad.
you go to jail.
But look at, Heshy, there's a point that I think some people, I don't know if they've made it. I know you didn't just now, but they had the fires, right, that happened in January into February. And now on top of this, they have this. Yeah. So this is just a state that, I mean, clearly, where does it end? Where does it end with the state?
And the senators all scream, we should go after Trump, we should riot.
One of the people.
What was that senator?
Well, I got a bone to pick with you because last week you said Yvette Clarke. You were okay with Yvette Clarke, right?
I wasn't okay with
Yvette Clarke.
Well, hold on.
No. Yvette Clarke. I want to finish the Yvette Clarke.
Were you sleeping?
Because do you know what Yvette Clarke said? She said yesterday that Donald Trump should be impeached about ICE.
Oh, he puts the post up.
Well, that's happening in California. And Yvette Clarke, a person you said you were okay with, said Trump should be impeached about the way ICE is being handled.
So I never said Yvette Clarke is good. I said she's done good stuff.
But we were going down the list of people. Yvette Clarke wants Trump to be impeached. Your boy Trump.
I know.
Mr. Tariff, pro-tariff Trump.
So you know who else? Then you want to really bitch about it? People are endorsing Ina Vernikova.
I'm glad. I want to talk about this race.
Of the worst, laziest councilwoman who's done nothing. She's not even lazy. She's stupid. I mean, I really talked to her. She's stupid. Now, you're endorsing her. Now, I know one of my friends endorsed her as well.
Yes, an individual we know very well.
This is a woman that has even endorsed the... now, I have friends who like the casino. I'm against the casino. I have a whole bunch of people in Seagate that called me up over the last couple of days. And again, I'm against the casino. Now, I want the casino to approach me and tell me what they will do better for our community.
Well, we don't even know, first of all, objectively speaking, if there's going to be a casino. Because they're only allowing 3 licenses to be approved in New York City. So there's a possibility that they may not even get a casino in Coney Island. So that's a separate issue. But when it comes to Vernikoff, I mean, it's really almost like your choice of Dumb and Dumber between Kagan and Vernikoff. Right. Think about it, right? Kagan, who runs for office every year. Kagan, he's a nice...
So do I.
He's a nice guy, Kagan, but really...
He does nothing. When have you seen him do it?
That's what I'm trying to figure out.
When he was city councilman...
And on top of that...
When he was city councilman, what did he do?
It's a great question. Well, but I'll tell you what, though, is interesting to me is that Kagan is endorsed by all the Republican people, all the grifters that basically tried to undermine your candidacy. And on top of that, the Republicans say that they're behind Vernikoff, but really they want Kagan to win. Right. They want Kagan to win because Kagan is one of them. He's a friend to them.
Simeon, who is the worst Republican...
Dick Ron Bar Simeon.
Dick Ron.
Don't call him Richie.
Right. Is the worst Republican chairman ever on this planet. A liar that comes
Oh, he's a bad man. He's a bad man.
He doesn't know what he's doing from 1 minute to the next.
And he's behind, in my opinion, and a lot of people feel that he's behind Ari Kagan because he just took photos with Ari Kagan not too long ago. So really, to me at that race, who really wins? Who really wins in that race? Is Ari the lesser of the evils? Probably. But
is there a Democrat running at all in that race?
I don't even know who she is.
There is?
There's a Democrat running, but I think her name's I couldn't even pronounce it. It's like Zafar or Zahara. Has to be a dive candidate. Has to be a dive. Because Ina is supported by Sam Sutton. Because remember, Ina dropped out of the Senate race. So behind the scenes, Sam Sutton's working for Ina. You know that a lot of those donors
if I got into city council, I'd have more power and more money backing people.
But that's embarrassing. Don't you think that in a neighboring district that those are your choices?
Yeah.
One guy who's run for office more than you, another person...
and has done nothing.
Another person that's a career Democrat, a lifelong, who marched to Black Lives Matters. But on top of that is one of the most elitist, arrogant public servants and has not endorsed any Republican candidates running. There was a state Senate race in the area last year. She backed nobody. The previous race, same thing. I never saw her endorse any Republican. In your race 2 years ago, she was cheering for her best friend, Kalman Yeager. And Kalman Yeager approved her to show up on the floor of the state assembly a few months ago and praised Ina Vernikov. So really, this is a race that, to me, who really wins? If you really think about it, I mean,
I want to go to Elon Musk for a moment.
That's almost like Vernikov and Kagan,
Right.
Trump and Musk.
Now, Elon Musk was a good friend. I was so proud that he's there working with Trump. He was doing the Doge thing. He was just great. And then all of a sudden he had a mental breakdown. I mean, I really liked Musk. Even when he was
agree with
even when he was, he made his first bid for Twitter, and then they almost sued him that he didn't have the money. Then he had the money. Then he bought Twitter. He was acting a little crazy, and then they suspended him a little bit for running stuff. So he was doing real good. Did he just have a mental breakdown?
See, I disagree because I think Musk was absolutely right on this big, beautiful bill because it's adding $2.5 trillion to the deficit.
But you know how much money it's taking down on taxes and how much more.
But when is it going to end with the debt? When is it going to end?
You might be adding to the deficit, but at the end of this bill, I believe that he's going to lower our deficit by.
I disagree on the debt. I disagree on the debt.
I think you're wrong. I think that all the tax cuts, the more money coming in, they're spending the way. If you look at the bill in itself, he's even getting two big companies.
But it undermines. See, I'm with Musk on this because it undermined Doge. The whole point of Doge.
The whole point of Doge is to save money.
But
that
this
we
isn't.
Can use the money that
but
we're
this
spending
is not.
Already. We can use the money that Doge is saving to give back to the people. It's to put it in the right program.
I'm with you on the tax cut, but when you look at it and saying it's adding $2.4 trillion more to the debt, I think that when will we ever get the debt out of line?
I know.
Remember, we're paying for debts going back to the Iraq War. We're paying with debts during the bailouts, the government bailouts with Obama. Yeah. We're paying with the debt from all the different...
We're still paying for the war, the first Iraqi war.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So Afghanistan, Iraq, the bank bailouts, the cash for clunkers, Obamacare, all these things, right? And Trump with the COVID money that he gave everybody. And then all the stuff that was shut down in the country during that 18-month period. When is it going to end? That's my question about, and that's why, to me, I understand where Musk is coming from. Do I agree with the rhetoric? No, I think that there should be a civil tone, but that should be with everybody. It's like at the local level, right? We talk about all these people, right? And you talk about Vernikov and Kagan, and it's almost like damned if you do, damned if you don't. You mentioned Barsimian, a guy that backed Democrats over you, a guy that
who took money from
Democrats. a guy that he runs the party and now wants to run for office. This guy, I mean, he's been chairman for a day, and in a party that has no money. And again, I'm not a Republican. I'm not with the Republican Party. If you want to call, you want to call Barsimian, you're gonna have to wait till next week because we ain't taking your call. But the point is that this is a party that has no money, they have no staff, they have no nothing, they have no volunteers, They run things like a private club. It's all run by people who work at the Board of Elections. And again, I'm not a Republican, I'm not involved with them, but at the end of the day, you have to look at, this is why people are upset with politics in general. Yeah. People are upset right now what they feel about Trump and Musk. They're upset with local politics.
You see how you're running on, and everything you say is right. Everything what you're saying is right, but look at our public out there, and I'm looking at you.
I see it.
You're not doing it. You're not listening. Not only you're not listening to me, you're not listening to yourself. You have the power to stop this, but we just keep recycling. You know.
But people voted for Trump. They voted for Trump, though.
Can I tell you a favorite funny line that I heard?
You should have did the joke of the week, but go ahead.
I should have done that. It's a anonymous line, and I don't know where it was ever said, but I heard it from a famous comedian. Politicians are like diapers. They should be changed frequently and for the same reason.
They should. That's why I'm a supporter of term limits. I think that people should not be in office like your competitor. This man's been running for office or been in office since the year 2001. I mean, you know, we have Andrew Cuomo. This man has been involved in. He is the definition of an entitled, privileged politician. This man has been involved in his entire life in politics. There's something wrong with that. Let's talk about him.
About 80,000, 100,000, 130,000 a year. Maybe when he was controller, 180.
Right.
Not controller. He worked for the. For Lou,
that was the controller. He was the controller.
So
Yep.
Deputy controller, assistant,
Yep.
And he made 180 grand. And you're right. He has a job on a board of membership. He's a professor. I don't know how you're complaining about me that when I go to, if I get elected to city council, how am I going to do law school?
Yeah. How are you going to do it?
So I plan on taking a Sunday course all Sunday morning to night. I put in my time, plus Sunday night do my volunteer work, Monday through Friday work at the city council, plus I'm going to do my soup kitchen. I don't waste my life. So many hours and so many people's days go down. You know, I don't waste my life. Like yesterday, I wanted to go home early. You know what I mean? Me and Linda were away. We wanted to go home early, and instead, you know what?
What?
I went to the memorial. I stood there. I wanted to go home at 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock. We left at 10 o'clock. Me and Linda got home 11:30 till we got to bed and prepared for the next day. Time is not only money, time is important. And I know that I've shown you a record, a history of spending my time. I know you keep thinking I pitch myself. I'm not pitching myself. I'm telling you, all of you should do this. I was called by my volunteer, Bika Cholim, where we go visit the sick and drive people on. She says, Heshy, can you squeeze in 2 more visits? Because I visit people on Saturday.
Yep.
So she gave me the address of somebody at the rehab center and another person on 18th Avenue. So I said, I'm anyways at the rehab center. I'll put it down. I'll spend 5 more minutes there. And when I walk home, instead of taking the shortcut through 49th Street or 46th Street,
I know
I'll walk up 58th Street and go 1 block out of my way and go visit him for a couple of minutes. She says, really? You'll do that? I said, Linda's not going to be happy. But whatever, we'll do it. Now, here's a question for you.
All right. I want to hear
Mayor Adams.
All right.
I want to hear this. Mayor Adams offers a surprising compliment to Democratic primary challenger Zohran Mamadani. Eric Tuesday offered surprising. He says he doesn't agree with the socialite, but who's knocking on Andrew Cuomo's door. But
literally.
But for some reason he likes.
Well, I'll tell you why he likes
endorsement?
him.
What did he say?
No,
exactly?
I'll tell you why.
But
finish your point. Finish your point.
He said he acknowledges he's diametrically opposed to Mamadani, but he respects him for being consistent. That consistent hate should not be.
But there's an underlying. But see, you're leaving something out, that this is the art of politics, and that Eric Adams is going to be very complimentary of Zohran Mamadani, whatever you want to say his last name, until June 24th, because Eric Adams' path to somehow getting reelected in November is through Zohran being the Democratic nominee.
Yeah, but even if he's a Democratic nominee, Cuomo is going to be he's still going to have an independent line.
Yeah, but
and
Cuomo
he's going to have more money given to him by the city.
Cuomo is not beating Zohran in November. If Cuomo's on his goofy independent line, he's not winning.
Well, why do we think that Adams has a
Because
chance?
he's an incumbent. He has the power of this.
Yeah.
He has the power of money. He has the power of incumbency. And we already know his strategy. His strategy is running as the end anti-Semitism safe and affordable candidate. He has 2 things going for him that Cuomo doesn't. And that Cuomo's the guy that signed no cash bail reform. Yeah. Adams has been consistent.
But Adams allows it to go on.
But Adams has always been against it since day one. Since day one, he's spoke out against it. And on top of that anti-Semitism, Adams has been actively on that consistently, whereas Cuomo, we know he left. Yeah. He left public office. Adams has been around. I think Adams, at the end of the day, his constituencies are his own communities and these communities here in the Orthodox neighborhoods. Yeah, and that's why and if he can pick off a few Republicans here and there.
And I want to tell you something. I'm going to go a little off topic.
Let's go for it.
Me and Abraham were on a court trial the other day for administrative.
But you weren't the lawyer yet, though.
No. But we do administrative law.
Yes.
And we are arguing with the judge and the city.
Okay.
And they have an inspector on there who's actually lying of everything that's coming out of his mouth.
What else is new?
And the charges were that we did not have a permit to operate.
Okay.
Not only did we have 3 permits, we also had a street permit. And we had a set of plans. The inspector wrote us up for not working with a permit because he says he observed us taking the mechanical machine and knocking the building down with it when we said we didn't. He says, well, the way the debris was thrown around, it looks like the machine did it, not the hand did it. I said, it's a 3-story building with people throwing it around. Of course, it's going to roll on a hill. I said, did you observe it? He said, I observed it afterwards. I said, that's not called observing.
Yeah.
And I said, we had a permit anyways. Yes, but the permit was not for mechanical machinery. It said mechanical means. I said, that's what mechanical machinery is. We can't describe all the machinery.
Right.
Mechanical means and hand demolition. It said both. So the word mechanical means mechanical. Doesn't have to describe it. They only give you one line. And they're arguing for 3 hours with us to give us $20,000 of penalties. Then we had a permit. Then he says, you know what? You couldn't have the machine on the premises. I said, we had a permit. It should be in the street digging out the inside. I said, how are you loading debris from a 400 by 400 piece of land from the street? It's impossible. And this is what the city does. They go after. I have people whose houses are finished. They keep violating them. And yeah, I'm not pitching my business. I'm telling you what the city does.
But you can do because, 202 Foster Avenue, Green Line Contractors. If you want to go out there, 718-871-0382. Give us a call.
Today's garbage day.
Yes, I'm aware. Yes,
so
I'm
the
aware.
garbage man came down, emptied the garbage, and one of my garbage cans was a little bit heavier.
Okay.
And they didn't pick them up. I don't know why. And we have liners in each bag, plus bags and bags, and maybe they saw something. They didn't take the garbage.
Were they looking for you to give them $20?
So I want you to know what happened. So I happened to be running late today, so I walked down and I said, I was like screaming after them to run after them with the garbage,
Right,
take
all
the
right.
garbage. And I saw behind them a little car going around giving tickets to garbage cans. So like, these guys are setting it up. I quickly ran up. I tied up the garbage bag. Linda was laughing at me. I took the garbage bag, put it on top of my car, chased the garbage truck, and threw it in there. And I said, I don't understand you. Oh,
well, what happened when you did that? I want to know because you're doing their job. So what happened?
They said you can't transport garbage. I said, I'm allowed to carry the garbage to you. I said, you're lucky I'm not throwing it in your face, and I'm good to my sanitation. I love my sanitation. But you're supposed to be helping us clean the streets, not
so what
cause us
happened?
issues.
So
I don't know. They were one of their moods. Maybe they
yeah,
sent out
you
a
know
new
what?
garbage
They
bag.
just...
So you guys have to check. We're looking to torture you. We're looking to give you... And he was going...
And I hate to say
and when
this,
he
they
saw
make
me,
a lot of money.
Yeah.
They make a lot of money. We had a guy here a few years back that was on the show.
This year, according to my calculations, that what we've seen... We've tracked, and it's only middle of the year, we've tracked over $1.9 billion in fines called oath fines. Then there's civil penalties behind the regular oath fines, and then there's civil penalties above those penalties. I don't even know where that goes, but I'm just telling you that the city's fining us in the billions of dollars.
And that's why people are upset at Eric Adams. And legitimately speaking, that's why Eric Adams, among other things.
He lets the agencies operate without oversight. When I'm in city council, I'm going to stop.
Because he obviously was looking for other things. I mean, that's why he was in trouble in what he was. But yeah, I mean, listen, going back to your original point, Adams is going to be very complimentary to Mamadani because whatever little chance he has of getting reelected is again, if Mamadani is the nominee, not Cuomo. Cuomo's the nominee. Adams is not winning. He's just not winning.
Well,
we'll find out,
maybe
though.
Maybe Sliwa might come through.
Yes.
I want to ask you a question.
You can ask me a minute.
Andrew Cuomo.
Yes.
He refuses. Now, here we're back to Andrew Cuomo. He refuses to condemn Assembly Speaker Carl Heshy. Which is friends with our idiot Kalman Yeager.
And a lot of them here, Simca Eichenstein, Bill Colton,
I'm in shock. For killing a bipartisan bill commemorating October 7th attack on Israel. What did you gain by knocking and condemning
So
that?
I got a theory on that. So Carl Heshy was the speaker when Andrew Cuomo was governor. I'm sure that Carl Hesty knows a lot about Andrew Cuomo's past. That's where the bodies are.
The ex-governor Andrew Cuomo refused to condemn the state assembly speaker. I hate this hasty guy. We should get rid of him for torpedoing a bipartisan.
Talk to Yeager next time.
A bipartisan bill. That means both sides want it. But you see, that's not fair. If there's enough people putting up a bill, why does the speaker have the right not to allow?
I'll tell you why that's the case. So I'm going to also tell you why.
It has to be presented.
I agree with you completely.
The speaker's job is how to present it,
but there's a reason.
Not to stop it.
I agree with you completely on that. But the speaker, the reason he would, and again, it's stupid politics, but the reason that he wouldn't support that bill is because in Albany, things are warped. Now, like city council where people can work together, in the assembly, if Republicans supported it, Hesty won't support it.
But it's bipartisan.
He doesn't care. He doesn't care. And that's on Cuomo because, again, Cuomo, I'm sure Hesty knows a lot about Cuomo, and also Cuomo wants support in the Bronx. And Hesty controls a lot of votes in the Bronx, and it's always about politics. That's why when Andrew Cuomo talks about on his lit, he's working for you, fighting for New York City. No, Andrew Cuomo is working for Andrew Cuomo and fighting for Andrew Cuomo to get back into power because Westchester Andy is looking to get to the White House. That's his ultimate stop.
You know, they had a debate with 9 people on the stage.
Yes, the clown show.
All they did was not knock on what they're going to do. The whole thing was centered on the city, not on the city's needs, but on the Democrats' anti-Trump obsession. So they see that this is how they're going to go beat Adams. Look, you switch sides and you with Trump. We're against Trump. Vote for us.
Because what they're counting on...
That's not the way to become mayor.
I agree, but they're counting on the average New York City Democratic primary voter hates Trump and is to the left of even the rest of the city.
They're getting a good.
But that shows you that these people, and I don't always like Vicky Palladino, but she,
everything that me and Tom are telling you about. Oh, Heshy, you're crazy. Let people commit suicide. Oh, Heshy, you're crazy. Let them go after Trump. It has nothing to do with us. Oh, Heshy, don't worry about the cash bail. I'm embarrassed to tell you, Tom, but in the middle of this week, Tom goes out early in the morning as a job.
I will definitely want to talk about it. And so I'm out, now for those, I called you about 5 in the morning 2 days ago. I'm a newspaper carrier. Overnight, I deliver the Staten Island Advance, and I'm listening to my headphones. I'm doing my newspaper deliveries. It's one of my part-time jobs, and next thing you know, there's like these 3 kids, and they're screaming, "Wolverine, Wolverine!" And this, and then there was like one of them had like a camera on his phone. I was trying to record it, and they was screaming at me about my newspaper. I have a paper bag on my shoulder attached, and I pull out. Which I'm going to do it for the YouTube audience. I'm going to pull it for the YouTube. I have one of these, which is basically kind of like an alarm. Alarm with Mace, and I pulled it out, and I said,
"Is Mace legal?"
Yes, you can. Mace is legal, and actually, taser is legal in New York.
Wow,
it is legal. It is legal to carry it, so you can carry Mace. And I have an alarm on there. It's a very loud alarm, and I'm like, "We have a problem." And I put the alarm on, and I'm turning it on, and I just had it on, and the one kid was coming after me. He was screaming at me, and he was chasing me, and I got away, and it ended, but it turned to be a whole thing in the neighborhood.
Told you.
Police.
You're lucky that you haven't.
So I know 2 police officers, ex-retired cops in the area. One of them I'm very close to, and I told him what happened because he lives nearby, and his words were, "Well, you were lucky nothing had happened to you other than that." Then one guy who I spoke to today, a guy named Charlie, who's a runner, he does stuff for the ballpark down there by the St. George Ferry for the used to be the Staten Island Yankees, and he told me that even if these kids, they were between the ages of 16 and 18, if they would have been picked up, they would have been brought to family court, and they would not released. Nothing would have happened. So really, people were telling me, "Yeah, call the police, call the police." Really, calling the police does nothing. Tom, but that's our city.
Tom, I can understand during the day with all the people, troubles, car accidents, abuses, people fighting, mugging, shootings, killings, murders, stabbings, robberies openly on the street. I saw a video of somebody going into a store and the guy was holding the wall.
Well, how about the last couple of years? You remember all the Walgreens killings? People were going in the stores and robbing them?
Still robbing them. And
they're closing up now, not as many.
I have a jewelry store guy who wants an adjuster. They came in, openly robbed, cracked. There was nothing they could do, and nobody came. And the guy was on the phone with 911.
Yeah, people were telling me. I had one lady tell me, "Oh, you should have stood there and called the police." Yeah, and then have them stand there with these 3 kids, and then I have to do what? Use the mace? No.
So at nighttime, we have the same police force as the day because everybody goes 8-hour shifts. If
Right.
They want to do a double shift. How come at night there's not more police protection out there? How come there's more robberies at night? And I'll tell you why.
Why?
Because we don't care. We don't know how to budget. We're paying overtime and we're taking people to jail. Do you know when somebody's arrested, it could take 12 hours to process him? Why not process him in an hour? Why don't we have different shifts of judges? Why it's shutting down? We should be able to process this all day long and not have to drag,
But I'm glad you brought that up, and some of that's a state issue. And while this guy that claims he's going to make Subway safer and protect our communities was Andrew Cuomo, and he was in power. And he let a lot of this simmer. He's the guy. He's the guy that signed the bill. So when he tells everybody he's going to make things safe, so when these clowns like the Sephardic Community Federation, when these clowns in this community, other people say fight for Cuomo, just remember, he's the guy that made your community less safer. Yeah. He's the guy that allowed these kids to try to mug me and everybody else that gets in trouble.
I wish Cuomo comes back to Borough Park with all our Jewish supporters. I'm going to be there and scream and curse at him.
You know he's going to, if he wins on the 24th, you know he's standing with Sutton. He's already standing with Bill Colton, Susan Zwang, Kalman. Yeah, you know he's standing with all of them. You know he's coming.
I'd love to see them arrest me. Anyways, do you know that the New York, your governor, considers a bill, they're considering a bill to fund transition surgeries for transgender inmates. Not transgender regular people. Now the inmates are going to be able to allow this. These are people that have committed serious crimes, rapes, murders, or robberies. And now we're going to give them the operation, which costs tens of thousands of dollars, to switch gender.
So my answer to that is obviously somebody watched an episode of Looney Tunes.
Yeah. For incarcerated transgender individuals. I don't know what you want from me, man. And we can't stop them. No. You're not hearing anybody stopping them anywhere.
And I think that's the thing, and that's why people are obviously apathetic. But you have a chance still. HeshyTishler.com. HeshyTishler.com. JustinOfHeshy@gmail.com. 5318 16th Avenue. If you're fed up with the local politics, you're fed up with everything we've talked about today, you need to go and contact us to help the campaign. Donation. Door knock, phone calls, volunteer, put up a lawn sign, put up posters, because the last guy that put up the posters is speaking of mentally ill. I mean, so if you want to go out there and help this campaign, please do so, because you have an opportunity. And as we said at the beginning of the show, this is the first time in Heshy's electoral career he's on even footing. You've got 2 ballot lines for the first time in your career. So there's no excuses. Last time the excuse was, well, it was cold. I didn't know. I didn't want to vote. Trump was president. I'm happy. No, you got no excuse this time, because you're going to be, no matter what, unhappy with whoever your choice is for mayor. And you got a city council member who we've talked about has done absolutely zero. We don't even know if he's sick, if he's alive, if he's awake. It's an honest point. So you have this opportunity now to get out there and vote. And especially if you voted for Trump, because this is a district that voted 83% for Trump. So if you voted for Trump and you're voting for an absentee council member, that's shame on you. You have a chance now. Heshy's running. We're going to have obviously a lot more things to talk about in the coming weeks. And this is your opportunity. This is his best chance yet. Yeah. The first time in his electoral career, 2 ballot lines.
Got you. You're the best.
We're going to keep going.
I want to ask you a question.
You can ask me anything you want.
By the way, this Sunday is Father's Day.
Yes, happy Father's Day.
Thank you.
I'm not a father yet, so it's okay.
I know that I'm going to have to buy all my sons Father's Day presents, and you know what they're going to get me?
Well, yours might have got one already, the producer, because you gave him the credit card for Mission Impossible, which you did not like, by the way.
Right. I did not like that movie. Did I tell you we went to that movie?
You said you were like, it wasn't good. Why did I waste of time?
I had a good sleep.
No, I think it was better than that.
Some parts of the movie I got because
Oppenheimer was sleep mode. This was better than that.
Yeah, but I've been watching the whole series and I know the series of the movie.
Yeah.
I don't want to get into it on the radio and on my thing, but I want you to know there was a 3-hour movie, and the whole idea of a movie is you're supposed to go into movie land and experience the fantasy and be part of the game. He comes into the movie in the beginning, Tom, and says, I made this movie to entertain you. No, you're supposed to trick us that it's real.
No, I was fine with that. I disagree. I thought that was great.
He came on and he smiled. And,
that was great. I wish more actors would do that.
No, I don't want to know.
I disagree.
Do it at the end of the movie.
No, but that movie was too long. If they did it at the end of the movie, you would have been.
Too long.
I saw Ballerina this past weekend.
The theater was empty. Me and Linda got.
All right, when I went,
seats.
it was packed. All right, lucky you.
It was great. So we sat. Avram says he's sitting in the corner. It was perfect. And we brought out popcorn, and we had licorice, and we had a nice cold.
I can't do licorice.
I think it was like 10 people in the whole theater. Most of them, when they saw me, like a couple of ladies. Can we sit next to you? She recognized me. And
Linda would not be happy with that.
No, I got that. They didn't sit next to us, but they sat right in front of us, like 2 seats over.
Okay.
They were a little nervous. I said, yeah, come join us. People, like the whole theater's empty. Like, you have a couple 100 seats, and like 12 of them were all around me. But it was okay. I liked that.
I saw Ballerina this past week, which I would recommend people would see that. That
really?
was 2 hours long. You would have liked that. I don't want to spoil. It's basically sort of kind of like it's involves.
Dancing.
No, it's off the John Wick movie. So basically, the character.
Please, again, he kills everybody.
No, but he's not. But I can't.
He switches sides.
No, he actually. I can't spoil it. Can't spoil it. Can't spoil it.
Can't spoil it.
Can't spoil it. Go check it out.
He's a good assassin.
No, what I can't spoil it for you, but check it out. That you would like that one better. But guys, you don't want to talk about that.
Before we come to the end of the show, I don't know how much.
We got about 5 minutes before our radio listeners leave us.
I want to ask you. I heard that. Even though it didn't affect anything, that Trump did make a deal with China on the tariffs?
Yeah, it sounds like there was some deal with the tariffs. I know part of the deal was that Chinese are able to now go back to U.S. colleges.
Wow.
So I did hear about that.
But the other students can't.
Well, because he's making a deal with China. I mean, but it sounds like there's some form of a deal.
If you allow the Chinese foreign students in, then the courts are right that you can't do one without the other. That means a Palestinian kid or another foreign kid would be allowed in. It's not just based on the country that we're letting you in. You have to allow one the other. Or is it that it's the immigration rule? You know, there's an immigration thing.
Well, I think
there's
maybe...
an immigration quota for every country.
I guess...
Again, I don't believe that should be allowed.
I don't know the full details of the deal, but my guess is maybe it's related to them on a visa. Maybe on a visa. But I also did see that Trump today said he was less optimistic about a deal with Iran over the nuclear situation, with the nuclear enrichments. I'm sure you heard about that.
No.
And that he was not as, he was trying to make a deal with Iran about their nuclear weapons program,
right.
and he had come out earlier this afternoon and said he wasn't as optimistic that he could make a deal with them.
Well, he needs Israel to blow them
and
up.
speaking of Israel, I hear that there might be a new election coming up there soon. Did you hear about that? That there might be Netanyahu's going back to the voters, apparently. He might be, because there's a lot of unhappiness with him right now. So there's some talk that they might call a snap election.
The Israeli economy is doing great. You're right, there are people at war and dying. I got that. But it's just getting to the point where I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. All I can tell you is that I've been to Israel. I'm going back to Israel.
You were there a couple weeks ago.
My brother was just there because my mother's 8th anniversary of her death. So he went to the graves to pray.
And you were there for your mother-in-law, obviously.
I went for my mother-in-law to Israel, and then of course I did go to my mother's grave as well.
That's good.
Father, but I think I was all over Israel, safe, sound. I didn't go to Gaza this time because I was only there for 3-4 hours. But I'd like to go to Gaza. And again, so when I go with Linda's not going to let me take her to Gaza, but I'll dump her.
I don't blame Linda. You want to take Linda to Gaza? I mean, you might want to, but...
I want to see my soldiers. I want to entertain my soldiers no matter who they are. Matter of fact, I have a young soldier, a young friend of mine in this neighborhood. Okay. I try to talk him out of going to the Israeli army. He went. And he passed his first phase.
All right, congratulations!
I'm very proud of him. And we got a surprise video. His name is Avrumi Lerner. He came home beautiful. You should see him all bulked up. And this was a kid that I never thought really would have that energy. He came home when they have a video of him coming and hugging his mother and father. He came home for a visit, and he's telling me how safe the Israeli people are. Yes, our soldiers are getting killed.
But it's funny. Somebody in the Instagram actually said you should go to Puerto Rico. They want you to go to Puerto Rico. And there's one of our viewers here on Instagram. They want Heshy Tischler to go to Puerto Rico with them.
Yeah?
Puerto Rico. Heshy, could you imagine you dancing there, coming up there in that weather?
I was, when was I in Puerto Rico? Oh, let me tell you a funny story. Me and Linda, when we got married, we didn't have time for vacation. We bought the house, we couldn't move in. I was struggling. I was making money. I have to pay the bills, the house, the mortgage, the everything going on. Mm-hmm. So I finally said, Linda, it was 2 years into our marriage. Every week, me and Linda put away $50, $75. Really, it was just in a separate shoebox every week. It was, and we wrote on the box "vacation," and I wrote "honeymoon" on the bottom.
Oh wow!
And I was a travel agent, and I made friends with the cook. Back then, there wasn't like these prepackaged meals you had today.
Yeah,
it's 35 years ago. You had to make your own prepackages, ship it over. It was very complicated.
Right, because things changed with 9/11. Yeah.
So me and Linda prepared all of this, and we set a plan. I said, Linda, where do you want to go? So Linda, back then, everybody said you should go to Puerto Rico. And it was a great trip, 3-hour flight. She didn't want to go to Miami. So I went to my mother-in-law, and I gave her the little baby. He was 4 months old. And I gave the older one, Abraham, my son, to my mother. How complicated could it be? These are, they were in their 70s, but how complicated that you've taken care of 5 children, 6 children, take care of a baby for 1 week.
And I do want to thank our listeners on 102.7 FM. They're about to go in like a matter of seconds.
Speed up the story.
Well, do it quick. We got like 10 seconds for them.
Oh, too bad. Anyways, well, you're going to miss the story.
Thank you for tuning in this week. 102.7 FM, 620, our flagship, WSNR, 1640. It's, time flies.
We're having fun. We get to Puerto Rico, and I go meet the chef, and I go to the front counter. They love me there. They know me from the phone and all the back then it wasn't email. We sent
you would maybe fax machine.
It was fax machine. Also, we did telegram, whatever. Forgot the machine. What it's called again? Telegram.
Typewriter?
It was a typewriter. Like you typed up a message and you put it in, and it went through on a little.
It's a fax machine.
No. Before fax machine.
Copy machine?
No, even before that.
I don't know that.
Put it into
I'm not that old.
Machine. It's like those machines that when the stock market used to come out. It's like a.
There's. I don't know what they're though.
Telegrams. We put it in, and you can feed it to a different address. Or whatever. It was, anyways. I used to send out and we were good friends on the phone and all of that. When I get there, the lady at the counter, she upgrades us to a beautiful a beach house on the beach.
Wow, okay.
It means you came out the back door, you were right on the beach and like 10 feet away from the pool. It was real cool. There were bars in the pool, and we just loved it. And we went to the chef, and he brought the food into our garden. And my brother-in-law, who's a rich guy, was sleeping in some stupid room in the hotel when I saw him there. And he didn't have food even. Like, they brought their own little crappy food. And I invited him to eat us because I sent a lot of food in. The chef warmed it up for us in a special kosher way.
Oh, good.
All of a sudden, Friday night, like about 11 o'clock at night, the phone starts to ring. Now, I don't pick up the phone.
You can't pick up. I was going to say, well, what's up with that?
Ring. 1 o'clock in the morning, ring. We think it's the front desk that made a mistake.
Okay.
I'm not going to worry about it. Anyways, comes Saturday night after Shabbos, the phone starts to ring again. Linda picks it up.
Okay.
And all of a sudden, Linda says, oh my God, what's going on? Phone rings again. Oh, she starts crying. She takes a little suitcase and starts packing. So what's going on? Moshe is dying and Avram is having some kind of an attack. I said, Linda, our mothers are crazy. There's nothing going on. Just let them call the sisters. No, I'm leaving. And Linda was arguing with her. Anyways, I called the airline. We booked our plane and we came home. And my brother-in-law was so happy because he checked out of his room. He took over my 10-day prepaid room and all my food. We get home. Avram had diarrhea and Moshe had colic.
Jeez.
Just a little cough. I said, Linda, you killed me. So about 12 years ago, my friend was getting married in Puerto Rico, which he really liked. And he was coming to the wedding. And I said, you know what? I'm going to come to the wedding. And I took my Linda. I said, this time we're going to have a good vacation. I took my 3 sons. I took my nephews and nieces. I brought like 15 people because there were 10 men there.
Okay.
And I took them all to Puerto Rico. I had some kind of a good deal with mileage and the hotel. And I took them we made the wedding there, and we ended up doing a real Puerto Rico trip. One of my little, nephews.
Wow, well, there you learned something new. Thank you to that person on Instagram.
And one of my little nephews grabbed them. They were like 15, 16. So they snuck away. They saw some kind of a topless place, you know what I mean?
Yeah, we're not going to talk about that here on the show.
And then when they disappeared, I said, I know where they went. I was so angry with them.
Yeah, we're not going to talk
But
about that.
thank you, everybody.
We got a couple more minutes.
Really?
We got a couple.
Telling me we don't
No,
have
we have a
time.
couple.
We
And
do
if you're
have
on the
time.
phone and you want to call us, it'll be next week. We'll eventually be back on the live. But no, I mean, we're talking about this. I want to talk about one more thing with you. These COVID boosters now apparently.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah,
so understand, COVID boosters are now being told that they're no good, but they're no good for you and me. But anybody over the age of 65 or
It's
70,
good for them, yeah.
So it's not good for them because this way they can die faster. You know that.
Yeah, well, obviously, speaking of people, that's Andrew Cuomo guy, obviously with the money, which, by the way, he said he had no regrets about anything the way he handled the whole situation during COVID. He said he's had no regrets. You heard about him talk about that? He had this man.
When I get into city council, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to attack my Maimonides hospital. And I'm going to tell them, listen, if you don't let me have a civil committee to oversee everything that's going on in that hospital, and this is a fact. Listen to me, my listeners. I'm going into my Maimonides, and if they don't pay attention, I'm going to take away their parking. I'm going to take away so much money. I'm going to take away privileges. So I'm going to make them so terrible that they're going to close the hospital. Now you're going to say, Heshy, it's terrible. You're going to close down a hospital. No, we have Lutheran. We have
Coney Island.
Coney Island, even though it's the worst hospital on the planet.
They spent so much money on redoing Coney Island.
I'm going to make sure that my Maimonides, and we have enough hospitals that maybe they can't handle the overflow.
Kings County Hospital.
But I'm going to make sure Kings County really bad.
They're all bad. What's the whole common theme? Are any of them good in Brooklyn?
I'm watching-
Brookdale. Let's not even go to Brooklyn. Methodist. Let's not even go there.
Lutheran is great.
Lutheran, but then I
Methodist,
mentioned,
is bad, but it's not as bad as my Maimonides.
and then there's Brookdale,
But
which
the
is.
point is, I'll take it away, and they're going to let a new administration in there to reopen that up.
But that's to me, I think.
And I will have
but
the
I-
city council lawyers right away.
But I just think all these things you talked about, and people are even considering voting for Cuomo. This is how bad the Democratic primary is. Going back to this before we sign off for the show tonight.
I heard now today that Mayor Adams or Cuomo are trying to find a way to knock Sliwa off the ballot. Is that possible?
Adams would probably like the Republican chairs like Barsimian to vote to take Sliwa off the ballot.
How can you do that? Once he is accepting the nomination and nobody else went, the law is the law. You can't take somebody off that's already the nominee.
I guess he would willingly have to drop out and move out of the city or something. I think if you move out of the city, but Sliwa,
He's never going to give up. He has no competitor. June 24th, he becomes the official nominee, and he has a chance with 30% base.
I don't think he's getting 30%. I think Swila's base is a little less because I think that
28 could win it.
But I think Walden and Adams are going to pick off Republican voters this time because Walden, who we know has employed some of your former employees, and you had your issues with them, but he's employed them and paid them a fortune, and they're going to do their best to campaign for Republicans. And Swila is going to lose some of these votes because of Adams too, because don't forget Adams. He's the one talking public safety. He's the one talking anti-Semitism, and he's the incumbent. And he's got Trump. And I will continue to say, will Donald Trump endorse Eric Adams?
Wow, I never even thought of that.
Donald Trump.
Will he endorse somebody for mayor? Do you think?
I think that Eric Adams has a better shot at getting Donald Trump's endorsement than Swila, because Swila is not. He's a loser. We all know that. He's not. But Adams.
But you know what? You better be careful because if he does win, we're dead.
Who? Adams?
Sliwa.
Oh, well, you know what? He ain't got no chance. Don't worry about it.
We said the same thing about Donald Trump.
But there's a big difference between Donald Trump and Curtis Sliwa. Donald Trump was somebody that he had.
People went on television. The Speaker of the House, Tom Hanks, everybody on the
But this
planet.
is New York City. I understand.
I will move out of the country. They were making
I ain't going that far. I mean, I don't have reasons to say those things. I'm a New Yorker through and through, but I just don't, and I said this for months now since I've been back on the show these last 3 months, I don't see the campaign that Curtis has to put together what Bloomberg and Giuliani did. We'll talk about this more next week. It's Tom and Heshy. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. JustEnoughHeshy@gmail.com. HeshyDigital.com, 5318 16th Avenue. Producer, play the music. Happy Father's Day. Happy Father's Day to all the fathers out there.
JustEnoughHeshy@gmail.com.
Thank you, everybody.